give.
Okay, so just for note, this is a really late review. Batman v Superman is actually out on DVD now, so you can like go rent it and stuff. But it's really a movie that everyone is split on. You either hate it, love it, you're okay with some parts, but you hate others. You hate everything, but you love like 3 scenes. But since it's such like a critically, like it's not even bad or good, it's just in the middle with everyone's opinions, I decided to give my opinion on it. First and foremost, I want to remind you, this is my opinion. So there's going to be a couple things that might annoy people out there personally. Just give the cherry as an example of this. But let's start with what's good. Let's start with what's best in this movie. And that, my friends, would be Ben Affleck as Batman. Which is funny because going into this movie, this is the thing that was, two things were wild cards from this movie. And both worked out wonderfully. But let's start with Ben Affleck. What is so good about this character and this actor? Well, he's the first Batman actor that captures both Bruce Wayne and Batman simultaneously perfect. He gets the emotion of Bruce Wayne and how he's grieving and how he's emotional. He nails it. But at the same time, he still gets the playboy persona wonderfully. We get to see Bruce Wayne go to parties, social events, flirt with women, go to bed with one too, I guess. But we get to see him be this side, but we also get to see him be Batman. We get to see a Batman that is brutal, one that is glooming and dark, one that has lost all his emotions towards crime fighting because he spent 20 years of it. This isn't the Batman where, oh, it's Christian Bale starting out, he has hope for the world, he's being trained. No. This is a 20-year in the future Batman. This is the Batman that's witnessed Gotham. This is the Batman that's seen someone of his own love, which is Robin, which has been confirmed to be Jason Todd. He's seen a character and a person he loves die because of the crusade he's put himself in. So that gives you an emotion and a Batman we have never seen before. Every Batman we've seen, from Keaton, Bale, to Clooney, we've seen a Batman that is relatively in the beginning of what they are, or not that far into it. Ben Affleck is the first Batman that we see who is a veteran crime fighter. And it's also going to say I prefer in comic book movies where the hero just exists. We don't need an origin story, they just exist in this universe. And that was cool to see just Batman, he exists in this universe. We do see his parents get murdered, and everyone's like, okay, this is another Bruce Wayne parents murdering scene. What is this, like the 8th, the 9th, if you count the animated ones? Well, there's a point to seeing it again. It's to show you that this is what makes Batman Batman. Is it done to death? No pun intended, that was a terrible joke. Yes, it's used a lot, but it brings us back to the center of what makes Batman Batman. His parents. His father, oh yes, and his mother. What else works in this movie? Well, maybe the plot. I really like the plot. It's kind of a darker look at superheroes. This Civil War aside, because that came later, this is our first look into a government that doesn't fully accept superheroes, and it's kind of a more realistic approach at what I think we would think of superheroes if they existed. We wouldn't all be like, yeah, superheroes, oh, I love them, they're amazing. No, people be like worried. If you have a person who is flying around, shooting lasers, lifting up buildings, some people will be like, that's cool, he's our savior, he's here to protect us. Other people are like, they are uncontrolled. They have powers that could kill you instantly. And that brings into the conflict of Batman and Superman. Batman's hatred of Superman is shown perfectly. It's shown through the lens of what I hate most about Man of Steel, the destruction of Metropolis. And that's like, you instantly go, okay, Batman is right. Superman is a cannon that can destroy anything. He is this god-like character, and that worries Batman because he's seen how people can be corrupted. What matters with the Superman and the Batman aspect is you understand why they're fighting. In comics, in movies, in cartoons, these are such parallel opposite characters that you know they're eventually going to have to fight. They're going to have to beat the living tar out of each other. And now let's go to that fight. It was really good. I loved it. You can complain that it's a little bit too short, and I can see where you're coming from. It could have been a little bit longer, and we could have gone without a couple scenes. When Batman sees Superman, he sees someone that he realizes needs to be taken down. Like the criminals, like the other people that Batman fights, he needs to stop them. And whether he is morally right in this, more morally justified in this thought, that's up to you to decide. I think he is morally justified. I can see why Batman hates Superman. And this movie shows us something that I have been waiting to see forever in a Batman movie. The power of prep time. When Superman lands in the ground and he walks forward, he gets hit by the sonic generators, like, Batman is prepared. He's like, okay, Superman, I know this will stop you. I know this will stop you for a while so I can get prepared. And then Superman's like, oh, I'm gonna rip the hubcap. They're down now. He's like, I'm gonna have to, we need to stop this, Bruce. And then he has like, oh, well, now I have machine guns that are going to fire upon you. What else works really well? Well, Wonder Woman works really well. This is our introduction to this really powerful female character, and she's great. She's everything you wanted. The scene where he takes on all the goons in the warehouse, straight out of an Arkham game. That's what it is. You've heard that before, but it's great. And I like seeing it. Not only is he just beating up people, no, he's using strategy. He's using tactics. And now the other thing I was surprised they went into is we actually got to see Batman do some detective work. I won't go into depth because that's, you all know. So let's go into what people don't like about this film. There is a lot, and I'm going to agree with some, and I'm going to defend some. Let's start with what I agree with. People say the pacing is really weird in this movie, and you know what? It is kind of awkwardly paced. What else weren't people a fan of? This thing I'm going to defend. The Batman killing. People raged about that. They were so angry. The machine guns on the car, the machine guns on the plane. I'm not going to count the dream sequence because that was a dream sequence. I understand why it happened. I understand why he did it, because he has gotten to the point in his 20-year, people. This isn't 2 years of Batman. This isn't he's just gotten out becoming a crime fighter. No. He has spent 20 years doing the same thing over and over again. And I think after the death of Robin, he's figured what I'm doing wasn't working. He realizes he's gotten to the point where killing is an option that works. I can see where people aren't a fan of the Batman with guns on his cars and his vehicles murdering everyone, because in the comics, in the TV shows, he does have the very strict moral code. People weren't a fan of Doomsday in this film. They didn't like his original design. He kind of looked stupid to begin with, but as he progressed, and I'm pretty sure you all know this, but I'm just gonna go spoilers. Spoilers everywhere. Ha! Spoiler. Doomsday does evolve. He does get to his big, like, diamond-y arms, legs part of him. He gets to the Doomsday you know from the comics. And honestly, with our new Superman, it's kind of the opposite of our Batman. It's a Superman who is new to his job. It's a Superman who doesn't know what he's doing 100% yet. We see Superman progress also. He starts realizing what he needs to do as a hero to make people accept him. He takes responsibility for some of the actions he did. What else weren't people a big fan of? Okay, here we go. Here's the big one. This one is, I say a lot of the opinions are divided on this movie, and for the most part they are. But here's the one thing that most people hate. They don't even hate it. They despised with all emotion in their heart Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. But why did they hate him? Well, he was really over the top. But what else did people like about our Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor? Well, he was young. He wasn't the calmer, darker manipulator of evil. He wasn't this businessman Lex Luthor. He had bright, long orange hair. Well, here we go. Put in the hate comments now. I really liked him.
I just threw a cherry Jolly Rancher out.
We get the scene where I suddenly realized what Lex Luthor we were given. We weren't given the businessman Lex Luthor. We weren't given the I'm bald and I have entire control of everything Lex Luthor. No, my friends. We were given the mad scientist Lex Luthor. The one from the earlier comics. The one that is not presented to us at all, really. And this is the first time we get a very different look at a villain character in a superhero movie. Often their goals are to take over the world, get revenge. What is Lex motivated by this? He's motivated by religion. That's something we don't see in superhero movies. It's something we don't see in action movies, period. Because religion and politics and all those are very slippery slopes and you don't want to go down them because you risk offending someone, but it's not the point. But what Lex says about God, what he says about Superman and life is surprisingly deep. Which will lead us on our final and last thing. Martha. I don't like this scene either. I'm in the agreement with everyone. This scene was very dumb. I saw what you wanted to do, Zack Snyder. I saw you wanted to see that Batman and Superman had a common thing that they both centered around, that being their parents. That's understandable. I saw what you wanted to do. I saw the motive. But you didn't use it. You didn't use it to a point that made sense. You just had Batman yelling, "Why did you say that name?" And Superman going, "Save Martha! Save her! Yeah!" And then Lois Lane, "That's his mother's name." Batman goes, "We're totally friends now." It's like, I saw what you wanted to do, but it wasn't executed well. It wasn't shown the way it should have been shown. It was tacky. It was weird. It was kind of just ruined a really good moment of the movie. We could have had this moment where Batman and Superman realized that they have more in common. But in the end, it didn't work, Zack Snyder. My final thoughts are, we live in an era of superhero movies that are continuing to get darker and darker and darker. We live in a post-Nolan Batman world, where every superhero movie now needs to be dark and gritty. Some movies it worked really well, some movies it doesn't. But I think Batman v Superman is the point where we realize that maybe darkness in a movie isn't what sells it. We need a little bit of hope. We need a little bit of light. And there wasn't a lot of hope and light in Batman v Superman. It's more of hopelessness and darkness. And maybe that's not a good way to get an audience. You don't want an audience that feels depressed when they leave your theater. You want one that's like, hey, there's still hope. There's still a possibility to strive. Batman v Superman didn't give us that at the end, and that kind of is a problem. I liked Ben Affleck. I liked Henry Cavill. I really liked Jesse Eisenberg. Feel free to just disagree with me till all eternity, but don't unsubscribe. Feel free to voice your opinion in the comments of what you think, because that's what a review and a critic is for a movie. It's your opinions and what you think. So, all in all, I give Batman v Superman a 7.5 out of 10. So everyone, my advice is go see the movie and enjoy yourself a nice cherry Jolly Rancher. That's been Movie Rants. Come back next time and feel free to follow, subscribe, and comment a movie you would like me to review. Toodles.